Hi guys, welcome back to Gearjunkies TV and a new video. Today we're going to take a listen to the Panharmonium by Rossum Electronic. So welcome to this new edition of Gearjunkies. As I said in the intro, today we have the Panharmonium by Rossum Electro-Music, and this is a very interesting module. It's called a Mutating Spectral Resynthesizer, and what it actually does is the input signal is real-time analyzed inside and recreated using an oscillator bank. So there are quite a few voices in here that are used to recreate what is fed at the input, and this gives some really interesting results, especially when you would use like a human voice, or as we are doing today, a drum machine. And for that I've built a little setup. By the way, we will not explain in detail what all the controls of the Panharmonium do. There are excellent tutorials online for that. We just thought it would be interesting for you to hear what happens when you put a drum machine through it, and if it can be useful for instance, music production. Okay, so what did I build here? First we have the drum machine. This is a Roland TR-6S. It's a 6-track drum machine, and the nice thing about it is that every drum has its own control. So when I pull up the sliders of the different drums that are in there, they will be fed to the input of the Panharmonium, so we can create more complex resynthesis projects. Further, the Moog Matriarch here is used for a couple of things. First, I'm running the outputs of the Panharmonium into the two mixer inputs of the Matriarch, and I did that so that, for instance, we can filter the result, which could be nice, and also the stereo delay can be used, which I'll let you hear later in the demo, to add a little bit more excitement to the result. Also, there is sync input on the Panharmonium. When it's connected to an external clock, it synchronizes the slicing of the input signal. So it determines the tempo on which the input signal is analyzed and recreated. And as the Matriarch is also synchronized to the TR-6S, the output of the arpeggiator is synchronized to the beat of the TR-6S, and therefore will synchronize the Panharmonium as well. The output, clock out, the trigger output of the Panharmonium is then sent to the envelope generator of the Matriarch. So we will only hear it when this is triggered, and this will be done on the tempo of the multiplier here, which is again controlled by the sync input. So this should all give quite a rhythmic result. And as we progress in the demo, I will comment shortly on what I'm doing on the Panharmonium and or on the Matriarch, so that you know what's happening. To start, I've set the Matriarch to drone mode, which means the envelope is not used, so it will just hear what comes out of the Panharmonium continuously. I will start the drum machine and turn up the oscillator volumes here in the mixer, and we'll first listen to the dry signal. Now we are going to turn up the mix encoder of the Panharmonium, and we will hear then what the resynthesis does with the bass drum. In this case, I've set the octave to +1, as this is a bass drum with quite a low sound. It just creates very low harmonics, but I will let you listen to it, how that sounds. Now we will turn up the snare drum of this beat. And as you can hear, the synthesizer module of the Panharmonium tries to understand what the snare drum sound is and also adds it to the total signal. Let's turn up the hi-hat section. I'll just go back in the mix so you can listen what it actually sounds like. I'll add some the other percussion that's in this drum loop. And we go back to the Panharmonium. Now at the moment the Panharmonium is set to drums, which means the analyzer is optimized for the transients that drums produce. And with the multiplier we can give it an instruction how many slices are made in a certain time amount. So I'll just start turning this and we'll listen to what happens. And back to the slowest. Now we do something with the voices. It's set to one voice only, and the waveform that's used is a sine wave, and I'll just add some extra voices. We make it a little faster. And let's find out when we change the waveform. So it's set to sine, and we'll slowly turn it up to all the way to square. Okay, when I use the blur function, more of the voices will get blended with our harmonics. So let's see how that sounds. As you can hear, it becomes quite a complex signal. Let's try to find out if we can trigger this with the envelope of the Matriarch to get a more rhythmic variant of what we're hearing. So I'll switch the Matriarch to amp envelope modus. And now we will actually hear the settings of the envelope here. I'll just close it completely and see what we hear. So at the moment when it's set to minimum decay, and I will add some decay and add a little release. With some sustain. So let's go over some of the functions here again. Let's choose a different octave. And why not add a little delay here from the Matriarch. Let's play a bit with the decay. And with the time of the delay. Let's try some further settings. I'll vary the blur and feedback parameters. I'll turn down the delay a bit. And let's switch back to the basic pattern without any of the additional drums. As you can hear, the feedback makes the extra harmonics slowly disappear. Let's limit the number of voices here. And then we choose a different waveform. And change the envelope. And pull up the drums again. Let's play around with the octave. And there's also a glide function, so now the tone shifting will more shift gradually. Let's see how that sounds. Let's make it a bit slower. You can also play around with the bandwidth, so let's hear how that sounds. And let's play a bit with the center frequency. And finally, let's see if we take off the drum setting of the analyzer and play around with it. And back to drums. And don't forget, this is how the original signal sounds. And of course we can do all sort of things with, for instance, the filter. Well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed our little video about the Panharmonium. And if you did, please give us a thumbs up. And don't forget, you can also subscribe to our channel. See you next time.